They say it's my birthday. Yes, Ringo here. Peace and love, everybody. I was invited by the Beatles channel to put music together, and the invite was about the drums. And so I think just to start off, one of the most recognized drum patterns in the world is Come Together. Yeah, I don't know how I got to that drum pattern. John was looking at me playing a guitar, sort of strumming a thing, and it just sort of bum, bum, diddly-doo, gabbity-bubbity-boo-dee-boo. I don't know. In fact, I don't know much about any of them, really, because I play from the heart. I mean, I can do all the regular rhythm patterns, but when I do a fill in that, it just arrives. I tell you what we're going to do, because it is my birthday. We were jamming one day, and Paul came into the studio, and he'd been reading something in a newspaper, one of the British daily papers, about somebody's birthday. And we were just like rocking, and he just came up with that line. They say it's your birthday. And that's what's great about being in a band. You know, we can jam and things can come out of it. It wasn't always a jam, of course. There was some serious music that we had to find the right feeling, the right mood for it. I love that band, man. That's all I can tell you. So let's hear Birthday. One day I come into the studio and George, he was starting to write really good songs. He said, I've got this song. And he said to me, it's 4/7 time. Well, what are you telling me for? I have no idea what 4/7 time means. But we all know what it means, that it's in 4/4 time. But then there's that do-da-da, do-da-da, do-da, doodaloo, doodaloo, do part. I had to make that up. So it lasted for 7. And because I just couldn't like jump into it. Anyway, that's how it was. It wasn't like I just was trying to work out the rest of it straight. And here comes the do-da-da, do-da-da, do-da, doodly, doodly, do. I just got blessed. It came into my mind, and that's what I played. I still love that song. It's one of George's finest songs. So let's hear it. Here Comes the Sun, Little Darling. I think I should tell you a few things now. Drums, I listen to records and people say, oh, who's your favorite drummer? Who's this? And I really listen to the records for the whole record. But in the 60s, George and I were sharing an apartment. And if Klaus Vormann came to town, he always stayed with us. Anyway, Klaus and I were hanging out. We had this Al Green record, and he does a track called I'm a Ram. And it's so incredible. I was just stunned because the drums, I'm a ram, do, 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 shh. So he does that shh on the hi-hat, shh. It's like a musical. And I thought, my God, how great is that? So, as you know, as a drummer, I did use the hi-hat a lot. And, the other thing about me was I didn't ever really play straight rock. It always had a swing to it. And it's still like that to this day, people tell me. But one of the Beatle tracks I like, just because I love it, and the drums and the bass and the guitars and Paul singing, it's Paperback Writer. It rocks. Well, if you know anything about me, you'll know that one track that really blew me away is a drummer called Cozy Cole. And he did this track called Topsy, Part 1 and 2. We're only going to play Part 1 of it today because it may get you interested in you go and find Part 2. I just love the depth of the tom-tom and the swing about it, and it just like moves me. So it's just been one of those drum tracks that I've always loved. I couldn't mention any others. I mean, John Bonham did a great solo once, but I'm not a guy who likes to do solos. There's very few solos I've ever done. So that was Cozy Cole. I was talking to Greg Bissonette, and he's into this madness, finding out how many tracks I played bongos on, because I had bongos. So I think there's like 12 tracks so far. But anyway, I'm talking to him. He says, man, those bongos on A Hard Day's Night. I have no memory. So let's all put that track on and listen for the bongos. Wow. I love those bongos. If it was in the studio, I hit it. I actually played on one-track cardboard boxes. Let's play one of my numbers. And I just love this number. John wrote it for me, and it's called I'm the Greatest. Well, I've got to thank Alan Freed. He was huge in the 50s and 60s, mainly the 50s. He had the Alan Freed show, and there's a country called Luxembourg had the biggest antenna known to man, and we could pick up their radio in Liverpool. And my friend Roy and I, we would, Sunday at 4 o'clock, that's all we did. We listened to the Alan Freed show, and we listening to it, and we had all this rock and roll coming out of America that we couldn't buy in England. It wasn't in England yet, it was just all in America. And one of the most incredible people I ever heard, and got to meet later and got to watch him, we opened for him for 2 weeks, and I watched him twice a night. He was so great, and it can only be Little Richard. And he's doing Long Tall Sally. And what I was amazed at, because most of the musicians that came out of the big bands, the big bands were going out of style. So these groups and solo artists were coming, putting bands together. So plenty of sax players without a job in those days. Anyway, his drummer and Little Richard, Mr. Rock and Roll, was playing swing. And it was just like blew me away. So Little Richard, Long Tall Sally. I think that's it for my hour on the Beatles channel. But I'm going out with a track, and I want to play the live version of Paul doing Long Tall Sally. Let's go out with that, man. I've had fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed the show and my choices. There's lots of other choices I could have made, but, you've just got to say, okay, let's go. Peace and love, wherever you are. Just say it or think it. Put your fingers up and say, peace and love. That's what we're trying to spread around the world today. Peace and love. Thank you.